Community Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Community Podcast. It is me and James today, and we're going to talk about Parks and Rec's community events for the holiday season.
So I know we had a really busy couple of weeks. You want to talk about the Christmas tree lighting first?
Yeah, so Christmas tree lighting kind of kicks off all of our holiday events. It's always the first Friday in December, and this year was extra magical. Our grounds crew put on over 4,500 lights on the tree. I mean, Joey could tell you all the exact numbers, but I mean, they did a fantabulous job. But we had the Christmas tree lighting there. Performing Arts also performed. They did, I think, 4 performances. We also had the Point Church worship team out, and they sung some holiday tunes. We had s'mores. It was just like one of those Hallmark moments, I feel like, you know, everybody's together. It snowed the day before, the night before. So it was just like this perfect, like, Christmas vibe. I think that really set the tone for the rest of the weekend.
So I've noticed in the last maybe 2 to 3 years, it seemed like the numbers continue to grow. And with the snow, I know we both were a little concerned about, you know, do we have it? Do we cancel it? And looking at the attendance, I think it was probably the largest attendance that we've had since we've been doing the Christmas tree lighting. What do you think is the cause of that? What brought more people out?
I think that the word is just spreading. I think that, you know, people are looking for things like this to do. And our community, I feel like this year more than ever, almost has like rallied together, and they want to show up together as a strong community. And that, I think, has just like shown immensely through these events. Christmas tree lighting is one of those ones that we never know. We don't have people pre-register, so it is a little anxiety-ridden for you and I. But, you know, it's fun. It's always fun. It surprises us every year, I feel like. This year, one special group that came was the senior home, and they were so appreciative of seeing that. I got to see them cry a little bit afterwards just because it was so heartwarming for them to see. So it was nice to see everybody like come out and support our community.
And when you look out there, especially if you're standing up top and looking at everybody, you see someone from like all ages, which is, I think, really neat to look at. Like you said, we had seniors there, on down to newborns that were there bundled up, and it's just really neat to look out, you know, and see the community supporting an event like this. But what's driving the growth? What do you think? You know, with the day, with the weather, and all the snow, you know, and I know we were getting calls, and we were kind of on the fence. Do we close it? Do we have it? What do we do? Or do we cancel it? Or do we have it? And we were kind of going back and forth for a while. Then we just said, hey, we're moving forward with it. What's driving these people to come out? What do you think it is?
I think it's just they want something like this in their community. They are always asking. I hear the community always asking for more events in the town, and this is one of those that it's their yearly tradition. And I think that traditions, maybe it's because I'm a parent, I'm a little bit more sentimental now, but traditions mean so much to so many people, and this is one of those ones that I don't think anybody's willing to get rid of. And those who are starting families or, you know, reminiscing on those traditions are probably looking back and saying, I remember when we did that, let's go try that again. Right. And I mean, the word is just spreading. I think it's a good event. It's a great event, in my opinion. And like for instance, my dad had never been, and I was like, hey, you want to go check it out? You know, the Point singing, and he was so excited. He was like, yes, I'm going to be there. Like, let's go. So it's just nice. The word's spreading, and I'm appreciative for everybody for that.
Yeah, I do hear a lot about the tradition piece. A lot of people are saying that this is their 3rd time, their 4th time, their 5th time, or even more. And I think that part is neat, and it's neat to see that not only are they building traditions, they're building them with their family, because it is a very family-oriented event. We got to talk about what causes us a lot of, I guess, the anxiety piece of it. Talk a little bit about that.
In what aspect?
So we have a countdown.
Okay.
And we
all
get
right.
down to
Okay, so we do have a countdown, and James and I try to pawn this off to each other or another staff member every year. We have a big countdown, and the fear every year is, what if the tree doesn't light when we tell it to? I mean, that would be terrible. You have all these people, hundreds of people were there this year, hundreds of people just waiting, and a tree doesn't light. What do you do? Like, I'm not good at crisis management. I would not be good at what to do with that. Yeah. We would say, psych.
I think it's one of those things that you practice over and over beforehand. But you just never know until it lights up, and then when it lights up, it's kind of that just sigh of relief. Yeah. But also, to look at the faces of the kids. I know you have some glasses that you purchased for a lot of the kids that makes them see different things. But just see them looking up at the tree and the size of the tree is just pretty special. Then after you light it, then you see people taking pictures and family pictures, and just think about those memories that they will have, because of that tree lighting.
Yeah. And I mean, so I do want to do an extra big thanks to our grounds maintenance team, because they do go out at 4 a.m. many mornings before and practice that tree lighting just to make sure that it's perfect. And of course, they put up all the lights and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited because, like I said, this year my dad got to go and he took a picture with my oldest kid, and now they get to have a picture to take next year, and I get to see how much she has grown in those 2 years. So it's sweet, and I like seeing everybody's holiday profile picture change to our Christmas tree. It's always nice.
So that was the kickoff of our holiday season, but that was followed closely by our parade and festival. Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about the parade?
Sure. So the very next day, our crew gets there pretty early, and around 9 a.m. we start lining up for the Christmas parade. This year we had I would say probably over 120 different entries. And when I'm saying entries, it means that, for instance, we have a car group and they have like 10 cars in there. So different vehicles or groups passing through. We had everything from young kids, church groups, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, horse groups, a very good variety for our community. Our theme this year was a Storybook Christmas. We let the community vote on that, and it was really nice to see how everybody interpreted that. Right. We had some do the Polar Express, which was very on theme with the Santa Express that is now in our community. Let's see, our child care group did Gingerbread and Friends. We had the Grinch. We had some that did nativity scenes. So it was sweet. It takes a lot of prepping. A lot of groups help us out with that. So the e-com group helped out. Of course, the sheriffs and the town police help as well. But I don't think that many people know how much people and planning goes into it. So, a lot of times our staff doesn't get to see the final result. But that just goes to show how dedicated that they are, that they're staying back and making sure it all flows smoothly without getting to see that grand finale ever for them. But
so you talked about, staff getting there at 9 o'clock for the parade. Let's talk a little bit more, I guess, what their roles are for some of the staff that are behind the scenes that people don't see up front.
Yeah. So we have all of the parade split into 6 different groups. Some behind the county admin building, some over at Region 10, even at Town Park. Okay, so a little bit of everywhere. We have 6 different groups, and I have 2 staff members assigned per each group. They are responsible for making sure everybody gets in safely, finds their group. Performing arts, I think they had like over 50 kids probably. So making sure that those kids know where they're supposed to be going, and then making sure everybody is ready to go at that time is a really big thing. I can't thank our staff enough. Without them, we would not be able to do it. If it was just you and me, we'd be not having a parade. But
yeah, and I think the neat part is, it is a lot of part-time staff that's helping out with the setup and the organization of the parade. But just to see their buy-in, and for them to get up early and come out and sometimes have to be stern, in the communication and lining people up and making sure that things are on the right order, and that is what we are looking for as well. If somebody shows up that's not, didn't sign up, then they have to have a difficult conversation sometimes. But overall, I feel like it goes so smooth, from where I am, from what I see. But I'm not behind the scenes and setting up and doing all that you are. And I think it's neat, from a perspective, that I see, and the perspective that most people that are standing there along the road, they don't see the setup. They don't see the chaos, I guess, or the madness behind it.
Yeah, we like to say it's very organized chaos.
Yes, definitely.
But
definitely.
I mean, this year is definitely a year of change for us. We have a lot of senior staff that have done these events with me now for 3 years, and they know what my expectations are. They achieve them beyond most of the time. But unfortunately, like you said, they are part-time, and a lot of them, this was their last year with me, so we had a lot of training up, so that's why we did have those 2 staff, so they could kind of show the next generation of part-time staff for us what it's like and how to do it, and the excellence that we expect.
Yeah, it is nice to see their level of ownership as well. Especially you were talking about maybe 18, 19, 20-year-olds, maybe a little bit older for some of our part-time staff, but to see them go out there and really own that responsibility and buy into what we're trying to achieve. We talk about making memories. That's one of the things that we want to do with parades like this or events like this, and I think we have a great opportunity to do that, but it all starts with the staff interaction with the people that are in the parade and just the people that are working with them as well.
Yeah. So not only do we have the parade, though, the festival.
Yes.
So you get to see the festival when it kicks off because I'm back there doing the parade. Tell me a little bit about that.
So you mentioned organized chaos. So I think we had about 63
Yep.
people registered for the festival, and trying to get them unpacked and going and set up by the time that they're supposed to set up is a challenge. Some people come in 2 vehicles and unloading 2 vehicles. So we typically have 4 or 5 staff that are helping out, not just pointing, hey, here's where your spot is, but also helping unload, helping set up tents. And a lot of things like that you wouldn't normally see at a vendor event like that. We're trying to go out of the way to make sure that experience is positive for them, but also making sure that it's convenient, that they have the opportunity to set up, get everything organized, and move the vehicle to a assigned location. But I think it's just neat to see how everything works because there's no pattern to it. The call for is up, and hey, can I help you? What can I help you with? That type of thing. And it's neat to see, again, a lot of the younger staff buying into that and not just standing around, And then at the end, you hear the nice comments from the vendors who come up to you. Hey, I appreciate you guys helping out. I appreciate you loading up at the end, doing things to make it easier on the vendors, but also it's that experience. We want the vendors to come back. So we do a lot of things to really make their time with Parks and Rec special as well.
Yeah. The next question is.
So tell me about some of the vendors that were there. I know you, not only you're in charge of setting the parade, you're also in charge of organizing the vendors that were there. Were there any new vendors that stood out? Any vendors that you were like, man, I want to make sure I want to get these vendors back?
Yeah, we have a lot of new vendors. This was the first time that we filled up before middle November even. Usually we still have a few spots going into December. I had absolutely no spots left. So that was really like, okay, we know we're doing good if vendors are like booking so far ahead. They want to make sure that their stuff is at our event. But okay, so let me think. Grace and Grain was she started up her business, I want to say earlier this year, maybe last year. And her hot cocoa bombs are always a fan favorite, especially of my husband. We had a new food truck to us that was Fun Cakes, and I got to try them and had a deep fried Pop-Tart. Okay.
Oh, wow.
It was delicious. Delicious. I'm trying to think. We always have such a good variety. We had everything from wreaths, pet bandanas, Scentsy, even hand-carved knives. Like anything that you can think of, or you're looking for that unique gift for somebody, we probably had there.
Right.
So it's always fun, and it's nice seeing like how passionate those vendors are about their own craft as well.
Yeah, it is neat to walk around and see. I know we don't like to have similar vendors there, so you walk from one vendor to the next vendor and something maybe totally different, even with the food aspect of it as well. So it's neat to kind of walk around and get a chance to see that and experience it, but also get to know the vendors. I think the ones that are repeat vendors for us, you kind of build a relationship with them, and it's nice to see them and talk to them and catch up, with what's been going on. And I just remember, I guess it was probably 4 or 5 years ago when we had a vendor event, and it was a Christmas parade and festival. And I remember talking to a vendor afterwards, and he's like, "Man, this was awesome. This was so great. I can pay my house bill or monthly bill, whatever it was. It was a large bill that he had made enough to be able to take care of that."
Yeah.
And sometimes we look at it, we got to get up early and do this and run around, through this organized chaos to make sure things are set up and running. And, in the perspective that, this was a local vendor, that he was successful that day enough to make his house payment.
Yeah. And he didn't have to travel all the way to Richmond or Charlottesville for this, but that we were able to provide it right here in our hometown for him.
Right. So I think it's just neat to, we do a lot for the community in terms of, providing the resources, the parades, and bringing the vendors there, but also, the impact that it does have on the vendors that are coming out to our events, I think is pretty powerful as well.
I would agree. I think that they're excited and they want more events. So we'll see what we can get in store for 2026.
Yeah, you better start working on that pretty soon.
Yes. All right. So the next event is the following week. We have the COA Luncheon. So you want to tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So COA is the Commission on Aging. And it's a luncheon that Parks and Rec, we partner with the Commission on Aging to make sure the senior luncheon happens. It's for seniors and their caregivers. Part of it is a resource type of event as well. So we do have resource vendors there that work with seniors to provide information. So they were there to talk to vendors that would go up to them in any way that they could help them out. They would share information or provide resources or take their information and contact them later. But I think what it's become a community event where they enjoy. When I say they, I'm talking about the seniors. The seniors come out, and it's just neat. We have the big gavel band playing, and the music is always great. And it's just neat to walk through there and see seniors dancing. Every year I feel like it's more and more seniors that are getting up and dancing, and just to think about that experience for them. It's special to watch. This year we had a gentleman, I don't know if you saw him, had a chance to see him, but he was up dancing and he had his cane in the air while he was dancing. It's just like, we create memories, it's just neat to see that. We always think a lot about, when we think about Parks and Rec, we think about, I guess, younger members of our county. But to see the other end of it and the impact that we can have on seniors as well is pretty powerful.
I know, just walking through, and I got to snag some pictures, it was almost impossible for me not to find somebody who was smiling from ear to ear. And I think that that's something that's so special. In our building, it's an intergenerational, so we get to see some of these seniors each day. But they look so forward to this event. They talk about it weeks in advance, and they come in their holiday outfits, all dressed and ready, and they are having the time of their lives. It is so sweet.
It is. And it is neat to see. You think about how we get excited about different events and things that we may put on. And it's almost the same with them to see that level of excitement. I guess a month out, they're asking about it. Hey, when do we sign up? Can we tell our friends to call in? And it's neat how a lot of the word is really spread, I think, from one person to the next.
Yeah.
We do communicate to churches and send something out about the event, a flyer out about the event. We post it on our Parks and Rec page, but I think a lot of it is word to mouth, from one senior to the next. And this year was one of those years where we always set up tables for a little bit more than what, the numbers look like based on who's registered.
Yeah.
And I just remember, maybe 10, 15 minutes after the event started, we were putting up more tables.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you're running around a little crazy and, the organized chaos. But it's worth it when you see the smiles on the faces of the seniors and just the fact that they're enjoying it and just catching up with each other.
Yeah.
A lot of times, seniors don't get out a lot. And to see them walking around talking to people that they hadn't seen since last year's Commission on Aging event is it's a nice experience. And I think it's something that's just going to continue to grow.
Awesome. All right. So 2 days after that, Breakfast with Santa.
Yes.
All right, so Breakfast with Santa is a special event for us. Of course, Santa comes, and I think a lot of places just do like pictures with Santa, and we've always tried to make more of an impact than just have your picture with Santa. So we do breakfast with him. This year, I think I challenged our team. Instead of doing our normal pancakes, bacon, and eggs, we did freshly made waffles and omelets and eggs. So that was one change. What type of things did you see out on the floor? I was in the kitchen, so what did you see?
Well, I think there was a lot. When we look at the decorations, when they come in, yes, it isn't a gymnasium, but when you look at the decorations, it has that holiday feel. We added this year a train that was set up, and we had little Christmas houses around it. I think what really kind of stood out to me is that you went out and you talked to someone to be able to write whether the person was on a nice list or naughty list. Of course, all of our guests were on a nice list.
Except for you.
Except for me. But to walk in and wanted to make sure that they saw that, and the kids were just so excited to see that they were on a nice list.
Yeah.
And it's a small gesture, but to have a scroll, on the wall, I think it meant a lot. And you could see them going up there, and the parents were asking, "Hey, do you see your name up there?" And they would say, "Oh, yes, there it is," point to it, and they were smiling and just so excited. I think, and to me, it's like, it's not a huge thing, but it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at our department and some of the programs, we really focus on those little things that make a difference. We could have gone out and maybe got a banner and had everybody listed on there. No, we had something for each session, a little more special, so they didn't have to go through 60 names. It's just the people that were in for that session, and just the little things that we try to, even the time with Santa. That's a special time, and a lot of times, if you're going to take a picture with Santa, it's hey, get on the lap, take a picture, and boom, and you're move on to the next one. And we don't do that. We allow, we have a photographer there, but we have had conversations with them to say, hey, let them spend the time with Santa. This is what the experience is all about.
Yeah.
And then we'll take the picture at the end and then move on to the next person. And I think just watching the kids up there and their eyes light up, and we've got to have the best Santa and Mrs. Claus around.
We do.
So shout out to them for their patience, but also for their, I guess, joy and love for what they do and the impact that they have with these kids. What do you think about that? What was the best experience that you either noticed or just looking in the past, the biggest change from the previous years to this year?
So this year, my family came as well, so I got to hang out with them for a little bit. And I think that just like you said, Santa was a huge hit. The train that, that was a citizen had donated to us. You had set that up and, like you said, made a Christmas village. That was a huge hit for my youngest. Like, she was obsessed. But Santa, like you said, we have the best. I mean, he is fabulous, and we have them fill out their Christmas list before. And so that Santa knew that my oldest wanted a rainbow Barbie was the coolest thing ever. But finding the name on the list was definitely her most exciting one, because she saw her sister's name first and then got a little worried that maybe she wasn't on the nice list until she found hers. So that was sweet. I think that, whenever I look back at these events and try to take notes for where we can change and, our highlights are really good wins for the events, something that stuck out to me wasn't even related to Santa breakfast, which is wild, but it was so nice because a lot of times I don't get to see or hear a lot of these things from the citizens, and this is one of the times that I do get to see and hear from them. And I was just walking and passing, checking out the food, but a citizen was talking to one of our child care coordinators and thanking her for having math sheets for kids to do during free time, because now her son is moved up a whole grade level in his math skills.
Right.
So it's not something that, would have ever been heard by me or you. I'm sure the child care, coordinator would have just kept that to herself and been proud of herself. But it was just nice to see how far our impact does really spread.
Now, you're talking about at the actual after-school program.
Yes. Right? Yeah. So at after school, one of our staff has some math sheets for kids to do during free time or if they don't have any homework to do. And during that homework time, this child doesn't have any homework, so he does these math sheets. And because of that extra little step, like you were saying, one little thing, now he's up a whole grade level in his math skills.
That's pretty neat when you are at one event, but you also hear something positive about other programs that we offer. And it's good because I think, both you and I, that's our intention. We're not just putting on programs or running childcare or basketball leagues just to run programs. For us, it is about the intent. And I know, we want to make a difference. We want to impact this community because this is our home as well. Now, my kids are older and gone, but you're on the other end of the spectrum. And speaking of kids here, you want to...
So not only did I do all these events, but I am very, very pregnant. And we go in, by the time this airs, 2 days from now, I'll be having a baby.
Yes.
So I do want to say this year, my staff and my team and you, of course, did take on a little bit more for me. And I was so thankful for that. I'm sure my husband is very, very thankful as well. But it was just nice. It's nice to, a lot of people are like, why are you still doing all this? You're so pregnant. And I wouldn't do it if I didn't absolutely love what I do and who I do it for. But the community, like you said, I couldn't even think of somewhere else that I would want to work or do anything like this for, because this is my home, but it's also my kids' home.
Right.
And I want them to have the absolute best. And for them to have the best, the community needs the best too.
Right.
So it's very special. I think that events like these just show me how much community means to each other and to our group.
So before we close, are there any key partners or staff or anyone that you would just like to give a special shout out? Because, of course, people see you and I and maybe some of our staff, but it does take that village that people talk about. It takes other community members, other resources, other people that are willing to step up and assist us, that allows us to be able to do what we do.
So... of course, all of our Parks and Recs team, huge shout out to them. Again, without all of these part-time and full-time staff, we would not be able to get the job done nearly. We wouldn't be able to get it done at all, but especially not to the level that we do. Ecom, those guys are phenomenal and helped me immensely with the parade and communications. The town was absolutely fabulous this year, all of their assistants. We did do a special behind-the-scenes event that didn't get shown very much, and we will be showing some more, hopefully, in the future. But we did do a little work with Amazon, and we're able to provide a train ride and a catered dinner. Courtesy of Amazon, we just helped them find the kids and families that needed a little more assistance this Christmas. And so huge shout-out to them for being able to provide that and letting us help. And to Lisa, our child care director, for reaching out to all those families and having that connection with them, making them feel seen and appreciated and heard. Breakfast with Santa, Megan Lesser, huge shout out to her. She did our banner and she did fabulous. And I only gave her, I think, 4 days notice. So definitely them. And of course, Santa, he's at all of our holiday events, Santa and Mrs. Claus. Like you said, we have the best, and it's so funny because my kids know that that's the real Santa. They see other ones, but no, that's the real deal.
Right.
But I think that's it. I'm just, and thank you, I guess, most importantly to our community for showing up and, wanting these things and participating.
Yeah, definitely. The community support this year has really been positive. You know, we started off again with some snow, and you know, kind of wavering back and forth. Hey, do we cancel? Do we have it? You know, and then it gets closer, like an hour before the time of the Christmas tree light, and you see, man, the people are pulling up, and you see the numbers, and then by the time for me, stand on the stage looking out, and it's like, there's no more place, nowhere else people can stand. You know, so it's neat to see the community support, and you know, as people that work behind the scenes to put on these events and programs, you know, it means a lot to us. You know, because we are very intentional with what we do, and the goal is to have a greater impact on the community, to see the community come out. You know, days that Friday and then Saturday and then this weekend as well, you know, seeing some of the same faces. I will tell you, you know, I get to stand along the road and watch the parade, which means I get to also look down both ways, because I'm kind of like in the middle, I guess, or near the start of the parade. But to see the people, the number of people that are lined up, and sometimes it's like it's 4 or 5 deep, you know, on the sidewalk all the way down. I mean, it's just amazing to see that support and to realize that, hey, you know, we are impacting the community. So I'm just excited. You know, I feel like I've got to take notes on this year to get ready, you know, for next year, to make sure when we start planning for next year. So it's an exciting time of the year. It also allows us to look back at our other programs as well, and to kind of evaluate, you know, what we've done and you know, what we can do in the future.
Yeah. So I will challenge you guys, if you have any suggestions or praises, you know, let us hear them. We always want your input and your support. So let us know if you have any new ideas. We're open to making changes for more impact.
Yeah, and along those same lines, I do want to thank you for your support in 2025. It's been a great year for the department. We've seen a lot of change, a lot of growth, adding additional new staff that will hopefully help us continue to grow and serve, especially the youth in Louisa County. So we're excited for 2026, and we look forward to working with you all and making our programs even stronger. So thank you for your support.
Bye.